All right, I'll go put the link up now. Go find the link.
All right, all right. Yo, Monday. Detect America night. My best friend, Andy Savage, who does not like Frank, is here with us right now. And so is Frank. And I gotta tell you something. I know everybody likes trivia, rock trivia. I know someone's gonna guess who this is in the background. He's a great guitar player. He's picking away.
I
And
don't
I'm
know
gonna let
who
him
it
play
is.
and see who knows. And Mr. Andy Savage, I am going to get to hang out with you in less than a month at the Lehigh Valley Hunt, which is always fun.
Go to YouTube.
Right, Andy? You can hear
Yep.
me. I got a new microphone. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I went out. I got a new microphone. I like it. It's pretty cool.
I thought there was something wrong with it, but that's just your voice.
That's my always my voice. No idea who this is, huh?
No, I don't know who that. I know this. I know the music, but I can't remember who it is.
It's it's not someone you would think I would listen to. Old. Maybe from before I was born, or when I was born. Oh, I like it. I like that guitar, and I really do.
Who is it?
Well, I wanted to see if anybody was going to guess. Because I know, we got some guys out there that really know. You play something weird, and they knew who it was. I remember I played 2 notes one time, and they knew.
I knew that one.
Yeah, I know.
This one I don't know. I don't know who this is. I can't picture it. I can't place it.
All right, I will tell you. Obviously, I may have stumped everyone because I'm looking through here.
Yeah, well,
Obviously, Patrick Masters isn't listening. He knows.
No, Matt says your mic is a little low.
Matt?
Yeah.
Never mind. So I got the volume and everything all up. So would you believe it's Roy Clark?
Oh, Roy Clark. Yeah, that was the other one. I couldn't think of his name. Roy Clark.
Is he? I told you he's underrated as a guitar player. He's great.
I was never ever a country music guy. Just wasn't into it, and I always considered like Roy Clark and Glenn Campbell just the bubblegum country music until I came across a video about 2 or 3 weeks ago of Glenn Campbell playing the guitar, and I was thoroughly impressed. Holy crap! I couldn't believe what a guitar player he actually was.
Well, like I said, Roy is just like I wouldn't even really. I don't know. That's not like the country of today. I mean, that's hopping music. So, Andy, what's going on in your world?
Well, we finally got done with the winter from hell and ground thawed out, getting out doing a little bit of detecting, finally.
And from what I understand, you're going to Meridian, right?
Plan on being there.
Yeah, I apologize what you're going to experience by hanging out with Frank, because trust me, it ain't going to be any fun. It ain't going to be good.
Well, I got you a couple weeks later, so we'll be together over in Lehigh Valley.
The preparation for the Lehigh Valley hunt, and that's a nice hunt. We're going to talk probably about Lehigh later on. But will you be driving to Meridian?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you're going to drive out there.
I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to. You're still going to be late if you leave tomorrow.
I'm literally taking 2 days to get there.
Andy,
it's 11-hour drive. I got to go to Orlando first and drop off my dogs to my son, and then I'm going to get as far as I can get that night, and then crash, and then go in the next.
And
day.
Andy, do not get in a car with him. I warn you. This is serious. This is serious.
First of all, I'm probably the safest person to get in a car with.
You're the slowest person in the world.
Exactly. A head-on collision wouldn't mean anything with
it'd be a head-on bump. You wouldn't have a head-on collision, it'd be a head-on bump. And so find out where you're going first and pull out before him.
I don't know, Frank. I think the two of us drive the same way. So,
we went down to a hunt. Me and Steve went down to a hunt. I think it was Florida hunt, and then we came up. We went someplace after the hunt, and on the way home we drove up a different way, and the highways are crowded. Who's doing 100 miles an hour? And then we crossed the line into Mississippi, and it was like, I'm home. every 95-mile-an-hour speed limit, everybody's doing 35 miles an hour on the highway. I was like, I found my. If I move, I'm moving to Mississippi.
Andy, when he drives, the 18-wheelers pass him. No lie.
Hey,
he's horrible.
I'm conscientious.
Yeah. I'd rather be slow and get there in one piece than way half these people drive.
I live in a town that the average speed limit is 45 miles an hour on most of the roads. It's either 35, 40, 45 miles an hour. I've been a cop for 20 years. I've never been in a town where I've seen more overturned vehicles than I do in this town that has no speed limit. I take back everything I said about Jersey drivers. I take it all back. I've never seen anything like it down there.
They're all golf carts. They're all golf carts.
Well, that's a whole different story.
So Meridian, Andy, I'll tell you what, you're going to have a good time at Meridian. I can speak from experience of going to the Florida hunts in Florida, and I have a feeling this property is going to be just as relaxing and mesmerizing as the Freedom Outdoors property in what town's that in Florida, Frank?
Melrose,
right in Melrose, Florida. So you're gonna get to meet Dan DeMarco and Greg Papalo, and Greg and his wife, man, are aces. This is one of the first years I can't make it. I've been there consecutively for like so many, and you're just gonna have a nice time. You're gonna meet a lot of nice people. There's two girls down there that you probably know. They're a lot of fun. The two ladies, what are their names? KG and Ringy. Listen though, they like to dance around the hunt area for money. Don't give them any money. Don't give them any money. Don't give them.
I've run into them in enough of the hunts here and overseas.
Yeah, you know what they're all about. They'll rob you blind. So I hope are you going to hunt down there, Andy? You're going to hunt, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's we're familiar with the area when we lived down in Jackson, so a lot of Civil War activity in that area, a lot of old plantations, a lot of old money. So good, it's good hunting down there, and it's the best time of year. The critters aren't really all out yet, but
I'm trying to find out why my other guests aren't clicking their link and coming in.
They hate you. Let's face it. All right, they hate you. But you sent the link, and they should get in. Andy, you got any books on the Andy has written many metal detecting books. He is really a guru of metal detecting.
Most of these are Andy's.
He used to you don't do the boot camps anymore, right?
we stopped doing that when the COVID obviously hit. A lot of the hotels, believe it or not, still have not gone back to providing meeting rooms. So we're looking at trying to get something started back up. Work kind of took over, and last year, I think a lot of you know that my father had a fall, and my brother and I kind of dealt with that throughout last year, and he passed away. But last year was one not for the record books. So I'm trying to dig back out from underneath that. As far as books go, I mean, obviously I've written a number of books, handbooks for various machines. The reason I kind of put that on the back burner in the last 2 years, everybody that comes up with a new machine, within a month, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9 months later, they're coming up with updates. So no matter when you put a book out, a month later it's out of date. Even when they tell you
it's out of date like in 2 seconds. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they say, okay, we're done, no more updates. You put the book out, which I publish myself. So you're talking thousands of dollars to get these books, and suddenly, well, now it's out of date because
and see, by you saying that means a lot. It means you're genuine about wanting to get the proper information to people. So, you could say you could not even talk about that and put your book out there and let people buy it and, be set up. So, and here we have Mr. Greg Papalo coming in.
Oh, and there's Barb.
Miss Barb Thomas coming in.
We
We
No
were
one
sitting
makes
in the
Barb
green room
look Barb.
talking.
Barb, why does everybody say that when you pop on the screen? Here's Barb.
No one makes an entrance like Barb. That's for sure.
Greg and I have been talking since 10 of 8 in the
Well, you know what?
chat.
Here's the thing. So on my screen, I have on the top, it has the people waiting in the green room. And I keep forgetting that I have to scroll down when more people come in. So you guys have been sitting there. I never saw you.
Yeah,
And listen, you might
That's
think
all right,
I keep forgetting, but I never forget Frank's a boob. Greg, how are you tonight, buddy? Look at you out there on the trail already. You're already in Meridian.
Yeah, I'm already in Meridian.
You're already there, brother. How you feeling?
Not too bad. You?
I'm
Oh,
doing
man.
very well.
Yeah,
was-
hey, nice to meet you, Andy.
Yeah, you too, Greg.
All right.
Look forward to having you at Meridian.
And I
Well,
hope
I'll tell you, here's a funny Meridian story. We lived in Jackson, 90 miles west of you. And I'm reading the newspaper one day or seeing it online, and there was a story about somebody that had gotten a flat tire, pulled off to the side of the road there in Meridian on I-20, and went into the bushes to take care of business. And apparently somebody had hit an alligator and didn't kill it. So it was wounded in there, and it grabbed him by the leg. So every time we drove through there, I'd say, "Don't stop. We're not stopping." Can you imagine getting out of your car, going into the bushes, and next thing you know, you got a 6-foot alligator grabbing your leg?
Wait, I thought that when I went that direction, I was getting out of alligator country. So there's alligators there too?
What do they say? The reservoir there in Jackson is 35,000 alligators is what they figures in there. Yeah.
Dale, see, I don't think my wife knows there's alligators in Mississippi. So you know what? We might show up in Meridian. We could maybe make a trip.
Steve's gonna throw a chicken out the window, tell her to go get it.
Gonna be a long, lonely ride back, but I might go. How fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is my kind of dig. It's seriously it. Not that I have anything against the seated hunts. Listen, the newbies, the guys that are in the hobby for different reasons, the seated hunts are great, but this is just a piece of ground that has all kinds of different activity that has taken place on it. And are you coming out there with piles of stuff? You hope so, but you find a mini ball, you find something that's the kind of dig I enjoy. I can't.
See, I have another motive for liking to go to these hunts, and it's a little obscure, but nothing's as fun as going out to eat with Greg and Maria. I mean, I got to tell you, we have had some of the best meals.
I don't know what kind of food. I know there's restaurants around for after, but we got some killer barbecue being brought out.
Yeah.
Food truck.
Stevie won't. I apologize, Greg.
All I know is Barb's bringing me cookies, so I'm good.
Greg, I apologize for not being able to make it out there, buddy. I would do anything in the world to hang out with you. It's just.
No, I know. Hey, you got just put February on your calendar for next year.
It's not necessarily you. It's more Frank
Yeah.
than anything else. But
You know what, Andy? And I got a private suite, all for Steve to use whenever he comes down. Talk about it, you just granted you got to put the toilet seat down, but there's plenty of room for him.
yeah, it's just not doable. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to regret it. I know Frank's going to fake a bunch of finds and say he really found them.
I am. Yeah, that's what I do.
But I don't know. We'll see what. We'll see what I think you're gonna be successful. I think
Yeah, we've only sold like 80 tickets, believe it or not, 80 or 85 tickets.
that stinks.
So we still got plenty of tickets that are available.
Yeah, just folks got to get on the. You know what we have realized a lot of times in these types of situations, people sandbag. because they don't necessarily want to commit, we'll say.
Yeah, it's always a lot of last minuters.
Yes. What's funny is normally Florida hunt we never limit the tickets. Meridian we're only limiting the tickets because of the size of the property, and now and the tickets aren't going. I think it's where it is a factor.
Sure, it is.
We have more followers up north that comes in to Florida in February when it's warm. When it's cold up there.
Yeah. That's the one thing you got to remember, that a lot of weekend warriors use this weekend as their vacation, and they like coming to Florida. This is a different scenario. The diggers that are going to show up here are going to be more hardcore diggers. They kind of know what to expect, and I still think the last 2 weeks of this thing you're going to get a lot of people coming out.
Yeah,
Greg, I got to ask you, how much publicity have you done with some of the groups there in Mississippi?
I've gotten on 2 groups that are actually in Mississippi, and I think one in Texas, not Texas,
Alabama.
Louisiana, that I could find in the Mississippi. I've been on that page for about a month, and we sold some tickets off of it. Because I know a lot of the guys I've been interacting with, guys on the pages in Mississippi. There's actually a group really close to Meridian. So they're I've asked them guys to kind of, maybe spread the word a little bit more. And
we used to run treasure hunting outfitters out of Jackson. It's where we lived. And we've got a lot of friends. We were just down there a few weeks ago visiting friends. And I'd be more than happy to try to help get the word out there. I know I've talked to some of the guys I hunt with, and they're planning on coming over. So I know there's 2 or 3 groups that we can try to drum up some more business for you.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And the thing you try to impose on these on people that are coming out, especially people that haven't been detecting that long. Everything seems today it's kind of gone, and Andy and I were talking about it. It's kind of gone to the for-profit hunt where we put $10,000 in silver in the ground, and the old timers that have been doing this a long time know that you may not walk out of here with 1,000 coins, but the potential to find something really cool, really good. The area lends itself to some incredible history.
Honestly, this property is more promising than I would think Camp Freedom is.
Sure it is.
But look at Camp Freedom. They were pulling.
We know about the area.
Yeah, Camp Freedom. We didn't expect people to pull Civil War stuff and Spanish silver out of there year after year. But that's 400 acres. We're only talking 180 acres, 170 acres. In Mississippi,
right?
Plus now we have the extra 100 acres, which really looks promising.
No, I heard that was closed off to everybody but me. I saw that piece of ground. That's where I'm. Why do you think I'm not bringing my dogs? My dogs are being dropped off. I'm going right there. That's the thing. You have to be. And a lot of the folks you're going to see out there are the guys that have been doing this for a long time. The guys that know the potential of this secluded area that has a lot of history in the area. Honestly, if you're a digger and you're looking for a site to go dig, a new site to go dig, and you've got scouting and you've got Native American and you've got Civil War, it didn't take much to sell me on this piece of property.
Now they've got one of the guys that went from Camp Freedom here, the guy that does the knife making. He was on Forged and Fired. He does he was up there one day scouting around, looking around for me, and he came across he found a fossil. So if you got people that are into fossils, there's an area up there where people are finding fossils.
And Celeste was just reading something about what is it, natural rubies or something in the waterways up there. I can't. Some kind of stone.
I know they've got some natural springs on the property too.
Yeah, she was reading something about some kind of natural gemstone that is all around that area as well. it's got a little bit of it's got a little bit of everything. The potential is there to find any number of things, and you've got to be the kind of digger that knows what the potential is, not necessarily that I'm burying 1,000 things in the ground for you. I have no doubt that there's going to be stuff pulled out of the ground in this area.
You know, and they've cleared a lot, like what's behind me here in this picture. I know not necessarily here, but there was some bigger trees. They've cleared out a lot of area too. They've in the last 2 weeks I've been talking with Cindy up at the camp, and they've cleared out a lot of land. So, because they're planning on building some stuff out there, but before that we'll be there, so the area will be clear. So who knows what them logging up and chopping all these trees down.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
So
And
Greg,
the
question
thing to
for you.
remember is, guys, that this is for an awesome cause.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not out there trying to make money and we're going to give 20% to Soldiers Freedom Outdoor. That's not what this is about at all. This all goes there.
They get everything. So
everything.
Go ahead. What did you say, Andy?
No, I was going to say, as far as the hunt itself, I think Frank just answered it. You're giving 100% back.
Yeah,
And,
I don't ever see any of the money. The money goes through that.
Yeah.
The only time I ever see money is like, if I'm sitting and people are buying tickets,
right?
At the gate. But
At the door, yeah.
if we don't sell all the tickets, we will have some available at the gate. So,
but I mean, that's what Frank and Steve and me were talking earlier. Years ago, I mean, we've been going over to Europe to some of the big rallies over there, and the difference between the U.S. and Europe is, like in England, you can go from one end of the country to the other in 3 or 4 hours. Whereas here, 3 or 4 hours, you're still in the same state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their big rallies there, they've got 3,000 years of history. So no matter where they hold this property, the landowners donate their land, and they're only charging $50 a weekend, and it's going to a charity. Unfortunately, that model, when it came over here, because we ran into some people running these hunts over there, they saw it as, well, look at how much money they make. So, they're charging, we were doing the math, $300 a weekend, you get 250 people, there's $75,000 for a natural hunt. Where's the money going? And, as Frank said, these are all for-profit hunts. And that, I think, people are starting to question, going to a natural hunt, because then you got travel and you got hotel and you got food, and that $300 turns into $1,000 by the time you're said and done.
And I get it. I get some diggers. Listen, you don't go to Vegas for the history. You go for the glitz and the glamour and the flash. And there are people that's what they want when they go to the hunt. I get it. That could be fun. But we do this down here in Florida for Florida Hunt. It all goes to the Soldiers Freedom Outdoor, and we have all the events. Me and Steve, the last 3 years at the Florida Hunt, I don't think we dug for 5 minutes because we were just talking and laughing and having a good time. It's like a convention that you get to go out and dig on. Now I'm going to dig on this hunt just because of where it's at. I have to put a coil on the ground here because we
have amazing people like Barb that do raffles and almost double our money.
And we're going to show Barb's little work art. And I love it.
A lot of people donate and a lot of good donations, and it can't go to a better cause. I mean, come on, it can't go to a better cause than that.
No, it can't. If you get down there, either to Camp Meridian or you get down there to Camp Freedom and see what they offer these guys, see what they do. It'll change your mind if you ever have any doubt about donating or being involved in this thing. It really does change your mind. It really does open your eyes to what groups like Dan DeMarco's groups do for our vets. And
I'm glad to see Barb's going this year. You didn't go last year, did you, Barb?
I couldn't. It was
yeah.
I was still doing I was doing private nursing from my husband.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. He was sick.
Yeah, I know. So you missed that. So it's good to see that you're going to be, because I know you have fun. You have fun. You're all right. You get out there and you dig, though, man. You're out there and you go and you don't. Yeah, you're like a little Energizer Bunny.
Barb, show us your work of art.
Yeah, let's see. Now, Barb, explain this and what you're doing.
Okay, so I've been to 3 Florida hunt events. Uh, I did my first picture I gave to Dan for the clubhouse there in Florida that said Camp Freedom.
Freedom.
And then the next year I did a big picture that was a lighthouse scene. All my pictures are set in resin on glass. And then the last one I went to, I did a really small detector guy uh, with the help of Gary Penta. I was like, how do I finish this? And he's like, do this. Uh, and I did a dolphin and I raffled. So this will be the 4th picture I'm raffling off for Camp Freedom. And it's the biggest one I've ever done for them.
Now, is it true that's me in the frame?
No, it's too skinny.
Look at the waist size. That'll answer your
You
question.
know what? What? It could be me in front of one of those mirrors.
That's true. That could have been you like 50 years ago.
And so the top of it is all stained glass, and the detector guy is stained glass. But I used a lot of really expensive stuff in this picture. It's hard to see it. But there's aventurine, howlite, sodalite. There's like 10 different precious stones that are the mosaics for the ground. So
You make
How much are you selling your tickets for, Barb?
So I've got about 12 hours in that. And I've decided tickets are going to be $10 a piece, 3 for 25, 7 for 50. And if you want to buy tickets in advance, I will pay for the shipping anywhere in the U.S. besides Alaska and Hawaii. I will pay the
Why?
shipping.
What do you got against Alaska and Hawaii, Barb?
Because it cost me probably $100 to ship there. That's why. Okay, Frank? And so if anyone's interested in buying tickets, I have already bought a roll of tickets. You know, I can't send you your half, but I would put your name and your phone number on it. I do take PayPal. It has to be friends and family because I don't need to claim money that I'm giving to somebody. Every penny I make off this will go to Greg for Soldiers Freedom Outdoor.
Well,
And I think that's reasonable. $10 a ticket, 3 for 25. I did the last one a lot cheaper. I didn't make as much money for them. But I have 12 hours in this minimum, maybe 14. So if I was selling this, I would get at least $250 for that picture.
right.
All right, let's begin.
I just think you're very creative. I like a lot of the.
Well, what she didn't tell you is she's about to mail me that Starry Night picture that she did.
Frank, it's that wide in this tall.
I'll come pick it up, Barb. I love that picture.
I'm glad you do. It's my masterpiece. It really is. It took me a year to do that.
That as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I want that picture. That's beautiful. And did Celeste tell you the story with the shamrock you made her?
I just know it went to her mom.
I'm not sure she wants me to tell the story on the air about how long it took to get to her mom, but her mother absolutely was floored by it. She loved it. But there's a whole story there. Make sure you hit her up and have her tell you the whole story.
I will. So
might have something to do with putting it under a bed and then losing it for a year.
Are you kidding me?
But when she got it, her mother went nuts over it. She loved it.
Frank does that with everything he has. He loses everything.
I still can't figure out how my brand new pinpointer wound up under my deck, under my grill for a year. I have no idea how I got there.
And I wish I could say I did it, but I didn't.
Hey, the last picture I shipped USPS, which is the first time I've ever shipped one of my items to the post office. It took 20 days to get to New York. So I'll never use USPS again.
Yeah, the only thing that they did, like, I expected the prices to be a lot more expensive, and the prices right now are about the same as they were, but they're not. But they're a lot longer. Like, I paid the same price I used to pay for 3 day shipping, except now it's 8 day shipping. So everything is taking longer to get there. Listen, when I ship stuff across the state, and it takes 3 to 5 days. Yeah,
Well, you still get there faster than you driving there.
well, that's true. That's true.
And so I do this one. I started it a couple months ago because I was worried it was going to take me longer than it did. Um, Sometimes things come together, sometimes things don't, you know. Uh,
It happens.
but
That's all.
it is an original. It is a one of a kind. The last one I did looks totally different. Uh, and there'll never be another one. I had someone say, "Make me one just like that," and I told them where they could go and how to get there. I said,
Wow.
"It's a one of a kind."
It develops as you're making it, right?
It's
Yeah.
one of one.
Yep, one of one, not one of 10.
That's the thing. It develops as you're making, and you know what? You do it. You do it out of a love of what you do, and it's going to a great cause. So
Well, I use a lot of glass mosaics, which are cheap, like $5 for probably 5, 8 pounds. But when I buy my precious rocks, they're tumbled gem rocks.
right,
Um, there's tiger eye in there. This I know I used at least 10 different things. I actually posted on my page all of the different. I pay $10 to $15 a pound for those precious tumbled
right.
stones. And so I only put those in my big pictures. I never put them in my little 5x7s, or I'd have to jack the price up.
Could you imagine
Um,
if I could get $10 to $15 a pound? I'd be a zillionaire. I mean, face
and,
it.
and you really can't see it. Oh, I forgot. There's actually there's a wheat, a mercury, a barber.
Oh, you put coins in there too.
Yeah, a barber dime, wheat penny, a mercury. I thought there was four. Oh, guess there's only three.
Hey
Well,
Frank,
yeah.
I see Stud Puppy's asking about pulse inductions. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Let's put it this way: we kind of frown on PI machines.
Yeah, no.
Well, in Mississippi, you don't really need it. I mean, the ground is pretty much neutral.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Which is a good thing.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so
any place you get a group of diggers together with machines, first of all, if you got 10 multis together, you're going to get crosstalk, and then you're going to have to drop into single anyway. If you add a PI into the mix, you're going to get crazy.
oh well, maybe I'll bring mine to drive people crazy then.
Yeah.
Oh, you would never drive anyone crazy, Barb. I don't think you'd like that at all.
Right. No, but I was thinking about bringing my PI because I thought, okay, it's sandier soil than like Virginia, which is clay. So would things over 160 years go deeper or just sit there? So I don't know. What do you
That's-
think, Andy?
I never used a PI machine the whole time we lived in Mississippi. I mean, I used one, but not there. There's no reason to break. If you got a good VLF machine, you got everything you need.
I think.
Exactly. And again, if you got you got a bunch of machines together, they're going to be chattering to begin with.
Yeah, some of these machines you can't bring near each other.
So,
No,
yeah,
you gotta.
there's some Mind Lab machines you can't bring near each other.
Oh,
Well,
oh my,
I mean, GPX series, you can't get anywhere near a VLF machine.
no. No, and I took my dais to the last seated hunt I went to, and there was so many mine labs there. It was, thank God I could tweak it, But
Well, that was the thing. The last hunt I went to in Florida, over at the silver hunt. As I'm walking through the field, I'm stopping at 10 different people dropping their machines into 15 kilohertz single frequency because they couldn't, they couldn't be near each other. So that's the thing. You got to keep that in mind that you're already going to have that. And if you drop it into single frequency, you're fine. But you're already going to have that crosstalk going on if you're in a close proximity to each other.
right.
Like me and Steve on the beach, the CTX and the Knox, we couldn't be 30 feet from each other.
Huh.
Yeah, but then we messed with the settings and we were able to in a way.
Well, you were able to, but I mean, I couldn't. I couldn't get near you.
Yeah, but
And then I know
hunts,
that there's Notkas and the Knoxes. Like the Legend and the Knoxes, they don't like each other either.
well, I mean, Frank, look at these. I mean, a seated hunt very rarely is anything deeper than 3 inches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So people go out there, they've got their sensitivity maxed out, they got multi-frequency, and they got a big coil, and they wonder why they're getting interference.
And that's the thing. The newbies, and I'm not using newbie as a derogatory term, but the newcomers to the hobby don't get the difference between searching the field with 100 3-inch deep coins and searching a field that's, you might have to go 10 inches down for a target. You don't have to have everything overkill to try and find, especially on a seated hunt. Here, you're gonna run a machine like you would in the woods, and if it's too hot, you crank it down a little bit. It's not super.
Say hi.
Not super detailed. Oh, there's the new one. That's D.A. Frank, that dog, Steve. That's what she named it.
No, that dog's smarter than that.
She named it D.A. I love it.
Better not have.
Okay, you can lie down.
Look at that. Did you just adopt that little puppy?
A week ago.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
That's cute.
Look at that little dog. That's awesome.
Andy, where are you living now?
We're up here in Pennsylvania, middle of the state, northeastern Pennsylvania.
I moved to Florida. He moved out.
I needed to get closer to Steve.
Right, I was gonna say, he wants to hang out with me more than you.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great hunt. It's going to be a fun hunt. It's for the right reasons. Listen, if Greg was cashing a paycheck at the end of these hunts, it'd be a different story. But the fact that everybody involved in the hunt works hard to make as much as we can to give to SFO.
It actually cost me, like I'm going through my coins, like some of the silver that I have. I'm putting stuff in the fines for token prizes, and I actually got a couple coworkers that heard about the event, and they're donating silver. I got to get that this week.
You've always done a better job.
That's the only thing is there will be. I have 50 tokens, the dog tags like usual.
Right.
That I'm going to give the camp, and they're going to put it in, in open areas for people to find. So it's not going to be like buried deep in the woods or anything.
I don't know what people think, but I know you work on this all year round because you'll call around and you'll ask people their opinions, and so I've gotten calls from you in April about next year's hunt.
Yeah,
and
I'm working on Florida Hunt 11 already, and I'm not even done with this one.
See,
so I'm looking forward to Florida Hunt 11 because that's only about 2.5 3 hours away from me.
Quit crying for
11.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the 8 to 9 hour drive. We're gonna try to do it one shot instead of stopping halfway. But
if I didn't have to go out to Orlando and drop off the dogs, I might try it. But by the time I get out of there, if I make it to the Panhandle, I'll be happy. I can
tell you what, I see Ian Aiken is in the chat, and I know one thing. He's saying he wishes he could make it. That's one guy. Listen, I know if he could make it, he'd be there and he'd have a ball. He's a good attribute to these hunts to be there. So
absolutely.
Now is Brandon Kowalski coming?
Last I heard, Brandon hit me up for the list of hotels. So last I heard, they were coming.
Well, he's going to be on next week. We have Brandon and his daughter coming on to talk
Oh,
about.
his daughter who's out digging him every day she goes out. I love it.
That's
Yeah.
the word, yes. And they're going to be on the show,
Prodigy.
so we can talk about that then. That'd be really good for him to finally come out. It's a shame that he's coming out. Every year I meet someone new, and I wish I could get out and meet him.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to getting out there, man. I can't. I just that piece of ground is what turns me on in this hobby. I can't wait to get out there and just swing around those fields and those woods.
I can't wait to laugh when you don't find anything and everyone else.
Listen, that's always a possibility, but it's me, Steve. You know I will.
You know what? We never care. That's the funny thing is, we think people. If you think we care, me and Frank don't care. We like watching other people find things, and if we listen, we have our share of finding.
Steve stopped me from throwing away a 14-karat gold ring because I told him it was junk titanium.
So I mean, we don't mind, and he'll find Frank, the guy who usually does find something in the dirt too.
I'll find something.
Does.
Listen, it doesn't matter what it is. I have no doubt that, especially in the area, something's going to be pulled. And the thing about areas like this, it could be a lot. There could be a lot of finds. But there's going to be some good finds made. That's for sure.
Well, there's always been finds at Greg's events. So
yeah, absolutely. Even, like I said,
I'm excited for the
I
Girl
got a
Scout
Civil War
aspect.
Eagle cuff button.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited for 1930s Girl Scouts and some of the
we have a
pictures.
name. We have a name for those places, Greg. We call them Silver Mountain.
Yeah.
If the only way I would find it if it's right near the barbecue truck. That's where I spend most of my time.
Ask Steve. The last scout camp I was at with Steve. No BS. You'd get a signal and you'd reach into the wood mulch and you'd pull out 3 and 4 silver coins in your hand. That all these tent sites, it was crazy.
And I've gone back and it is silent. You can't find.
Well, yeah, we go. When I went was the second time. You had guys had already been there, and I came out with a pocket full of silver.
Weeks. We had gone there for a couple of weeks and had a good time. I mean, but now, just shows you. Yes, a site can get hunted out. They say a site is never hunted out. Guess what?
Well, we were like the metal detectors got tossed on the side, and we're on our hands and knees with pinpointers.
Oh yeah. And I've tried. You know what? You go up the hill where we were finding all the coins up the hill, and you step onto the edge of someone's farm, and I'm just dying to die. I'd love to keep going because it's got to be in there. It was woods at one time. Yeah. Who knows when and there's got to be stuff in there, and I just don't want the farmer to see me. He probably should.
I know. I've gotten yelled at for crossing a line, and
you're right out in the open. You know what I mean? And if you can't see me out in a field, you got bad eyes.
Especially that area where there's campgrounds and stuff. The ground had Civil War, Revolutionary War activity, and this area is dug out, and if you go 2 more feet this way, you're probably going to find stuff. And I did at campground. It was insane, but unfortunately, you have to go on to the neighboring property, and you can't do that.
Well, I'll tell you, here's a story for you. I was given a boot camp in Gettysburg, and as everybody knows, getting property in Gettysburg is almost impossible.
Yep.
So we had permission. I got permission from a guy, small piece of property right near, dead center in the battlefield. And I made it real clear where the boundaries were. I said, do not cross the railroad tracks.
Right.
National Park Service shows up, you're on your own. So I'm keeping an eye, and we got like 10 guys out there hunting, and I'm looking, there's 9 people. I'm like, where the hell's the other guy? And he's on the other side of the tracks. He goes, hey, look what I'm digging. I'm like, didn't we just have this discussion?
Exactly.
Get over here.
Yeah, you know what? And they're hardcore. I tell the story when we were digging with the college. We were digging outside of Cashtown, on the road to Gettysburg, and then some of these areas that even not in the Gettysburg area, some of these areas are still protected by the National Park Service.
Yep. And
we would be on a field. The guys from Utz Potato Chips allowed our whole crew and the college crew on his field, and the Park Service would be at the edge of his fence line, and they'd just be parked there. And they'd just be watching. They if you cross into that territory and you get caught, you're SOL. SOL.
Back in 1977, I was hunting Harper's Ferry, and a farmer had given me permission to hunt his farm. And I'm metal detecting, and I'm a 17-year-old idiot from New York. And I'm looking, and the ranger pulls up. He gets out, and he's leaning up against the truck, and he's watching me. And it should have clued me in that there was something going to happen. And nope, lo and behold, I crossed that magic line. He pulls me over, and he said, you're hunting on park property. Let me see what you found. I emptied my pocket, emptied the pouch, and he says, well, let's go down to the ranger's headquarters. And he said, you got a choice. You can spend a weekend in jail, and you can talk to the magistrate on Monday, or you can leave your metal detector and everything you found and go home. So I had a White's Coinmaster 5, stayed there, and everything I found stayed there. And that was before ARPA went into effect with felony charges. But they know exactly where the markers were.
Oh yeah, they know exactly where that line is. And God forbid they should mark it, but they know exactly where that line is.
Hey Frank, check the private message section.
The
on the StreamYard.
What? I miss.
So how about doing a giveaway tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
How about giving away a pinpointer for the first person that knows what product Steve is manufacturing?
You mean besides natural gas? Yeah, okay.
I don't know what answer you're going to get the most of.
Well,
What is
Steve,
Steve manufacturing? I'm not sure which one of the comments you want me to look at because they're all really, really wonderful.
Yeah, I'm looking at there you go. John Burrell got it.
All right. Well,
John Burrell was the first one I saw. That
850.
Oh, my neck. Oh. The acid test kit box. And there's a special introductory offer at $15.99.
and if you don't think it's worthwhile, here's what I've got. I've got a digital scale where the acid is leaked.
Oh, God.
Here's my acid. It's all leaked. So I'm definitely ordering one of those.
That is the reason I came up with this is mine. This is what mine was looking like before.
Yep.
This is a brand new one. You should see my old one. It's all eaten up. It's eaten up. It's horrible. So these have been tested. They're great. See, I travel a lot. I will go places and test gold. So I need my kit, and instead of bringing that bag, I throw this in there. It seals tightly, and it is honestly, it's not 100% leak proof, but it will contain a leak, which it seals really good. So the introductory price is $15.99. I can yeah.
Some of the stuff that people are putting in chat.
Yeah, I know, and I just saw one, and they're probably right. So if you'd like one, you're $15.99 plus shipping, unless you're going to be somewhere, because Andy said he wants one, so he's going to get one when I go out to Lehigh, and it's just a nice adornment. And it serves a purpose.
So John, get your mailing address to Steve or Frank, and I'll go ahead and get a pinpointer out to you.
Get it to Frank because I'm lazy.
All right.
Oh my God!
That's all right. It only took Andy a month to get his quarterback.
Thank you for that donation, Andy. You're the best, man. You're awesome.
Cool.
Appreciate that. That was a quick one. I like that spontaneity.
I'll tell you, talking about that quarter. So my wife is metal detecting. We've got an old 1800s barn on our property, and it's still got the old horse stall.
No.
What?
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, my dog was eating my cords of my head.
He wasn't saying no to you, Andy.
But she's
Andy,
hunting one of these horse stalls and found this coin. I mean, it looked like a clad quarter that had been through the war and back. So I tried to hit it with some steel wool and barely could see the eagle on it. I sent it to Frank. not only did it clean up pretty damn good, you got a full date and everything off of Standing Liberty Quarters. So that ugly box system, if anybody questions if it works, I should send you the before. Did you get the before and after pictures of that?
Today?
No, I'm saying have you?
Oh yeah. No, I
Definitely.
had taken them too when I got it, and
Yep.
when I had after I cooked it, and it's weird because more and more, I found one at a local park, and our buddy on the East Coast, John Porcella, had sent me several silver coins. More and more, I'm finding that we're getting these silver coins that aren't like the old days, where else silver doesn't tarnish. Man, they are just getting and difficult to get off. Yeah, but yeah, little patience, it'll come.
I've dug some black ones. I've dug some black coins, and it takes a while to get that off.
It's almost like a concretion on top of it. It's
Yeah.
weird.
You start to wonder if it's really silver. You go, is this really silver or not? You know?
Well, I mean, her that quarter read like a silver coin. I'm
Right.
looking, I'm going, well, it can't be silver, and it turned out it was a Standing Liberty.
Yeah, they do. They come out. They look like beat up clad in there, and they're silver.
Yep.
So I tell you what, let's say goodnight to Greg and Barb.
Greg, real quick, where do they go for tickets? Where do they go get the tickets?
Well, the Florida Hunt page has tickets, or you can go to soldiersfreedom outdoors.org and click on the link for their events, and you'll see the event there, and you can buy them there as well.
The piece of property, if you, especially you old timers that know what it's like to work for a coin, this is a piece of property I think you want to go to.
And if you've been on the fence, get off the fence and get there. So there's going to be a lot of great people there, a lot of great digging.
Barb, if they want to buy tickets in advance, what do they do?
I posted it in the chat. My PayPal is kennyforknc@frontier.com, but it's in the chat. They need to send it friends and family, and I need it probably at the latest by next Wednesday so I can transfer it so that I can bring it to give it to Greg.
Yeah. That's great. Awesome. Thanks, Barb. And
thanks for having me.
we'll
Andy,
see you
look
in
forward to
Meridian.
seeing you, Andy, in Meridian.
And Greg, good night. Good night, Greg. We'll see you there. You're the best.
All right, guys.
So now we get to spend some time with Andy. My man. How's business? How's business going? How's the wife? How's everything?
Well, like I said, I think we're trying to get life to settle down. One hurdle at a time. I think last year was not a good one, but this year is looking good. We're getting out. We're doing some detecting. I'm making some pretty impressive finds out of my yard. It's an old blacksmith property, and you can imagine what's in the ground iron wise.
Yeah, seriously.
But, if you work it, my goal is one coin a day or one keeper a day. I find a coin, I call it quits. It may be 5 minutes, it may be an hour, but it's a sea of iron out there. But
yeah, that's a shame.
2 weeks ago, I got an 1899 barber quarter out of your 10 feet out of your backyard, out of your back door. So
how about any relics that are not, since it's iron, are you coming up with any like blacksmith tools or any relics that stand out?
Some what, Charlene? Yeah, we're actually raking the stalls, and we found an old milk bottle from the 1920s that was intact. But she's pulled tools and things out of the barn that are the soil there is almost like powder. If you drop a coin, it just disappears.
Right.
Really?
But as Frank can attest, it just
like the piney area.
But some of the coins come out perfect. If I put out some pictures of Indian head pennies that look like they've got the original luster on them, they think I'm lying.
So
but then you've got those quarters that are just chewed up.
What machine are you using? What machine does Andy Savage use in his own yard?
I've been using the XP Deus 2.
Oh, really? Ooh,
Yeah.
I am so trying to get that to work in the dirt, man. And I just the problem I'm getting is there's a lot of chatter. There's just a lot of chatter. and I've tried various programs. I've gotten a lot of, everyone says this is my go-to program, blah blah blah. But I still have that baseline of chatter in there that I've decided I'm going to update the machine, number one, because I didn't update it. Now I'm thinking it's important to update. Is that correct or no?
The best version is one you can't download anymore, at least in my opinion, 1.05. But yeah, I mean, updating it to go to 2.0, unless you're using a 2-box unit, you don't need to do it. The thing is, I mean, and Frank, you can back me on this. Multi-frequency is not always the answer.
No,
I mean,
it's
in the
not.
front of my yard, in the front of my house, there's a transformer on the pole.
Right.
And
Oh,
if I
my
want
God.
that without chatter, I got to go to 17 or 14 kilohertz.
Right.
So multi-frequency is not the answer. I mean, people say you need multi-frequency to get the fines. My wife uses a single frequency machine, period, and will outhunt 90% of the people out there.
So
She knows
in
the
the
machine.
dirt,
Multi came into play. I mean, big when we started doing the beaches and the black sand and
I
stuff.
love
like that.
that Deus. I love
Absolutely.
that Deus on the beach.
Out in the dirt, a single frequency sometimes is the answer. You have to go to something that's going to work. It's not going to interfere.
Okay,
28, 10, 7 frequencies. They're all can be reacting different to something that's
So
not good
Andy,
out.
what in the dirt? What frequency should I be using with the Deus?
Well, but it depends. I mean, I always say the machine will tell you there's something not right. If you're holding the coil stationary and it's chattering, that's electrical interference.
Right.
If it chatters when you sweep it across the ground, it's ground interference. And if you know what the settings are or what functions are, you know which ones you got to go to make an adjustment. Is it electrical or is it the ground? So, to me, the book, I'm finishing up the book right now, which has kind of been on the back burner. I pulled it back to the front. And the big part of that book is explaining all the functions. If you understand it, you can go and look at some of these settings that people say, hey, this is my go-to program. And it may be for where they live. 20 miles away where you live, it doesn't work because one of those settings is not right. But you need to know what the settings do so you can look at them and say, well, this setting is not going to work for my area.
Yeah, I kind of do. I really went through that machine pretty well when I first got it, and I'm pretty savvy with the settings. And I wouldn't say I'm about 65%, So
well, I mean, for example, if you're if you're looking for coins, the base programs on the Deus 2 versus the Deus 1, they put a lot more thought into it, and they didn't use YouTubers to come up with the settings. They all know how to use the machine. Elaine is an active hunter, and that's something the other companies really don't have the luxury of. So they rely on their quote testers, and a lot of them is who's got the biggest YouTube channel.
Exactly. That's the sad part, and why I'm not involved in these beginners and detecting things anymore.
Listen, I love that machine on the beach. It's great, and I know it'll do well in the dirt, but I just have that chatter, and I don't know what to do.
Here's something. I've actually gone back and used the Deus 1 at times on land. It's not a multi-frequency machine,
right?
But I know the machine, and single frequency, as Frank said, in a lot of conditions, I'm not worried about the EMI. I don't have that chatter.
Nope.
The Manicore, I've got a Manicore sitting right next to it. It's a great machine. To me, it just chatters more than I'm willing to listen to.
And that was the thing with me, the CTX versus the Manicore. Nobody's going to say the Manicore is not a really good machine. The difference between me on the CTX and me on the Manicore is I'm not constantly tweaking the CTX 3030. And again, how long have I been with the CTX 3030? And I just started playing with the negative auto sensitivity and finding out all kinds of new things about it and how it's quieting down some stuff that I never even tried it before.
I get people looking at me going, are you still using that old CTX? Absolutely. And it still works.
Yes,
listen, I had every new machine in the past 2 years. I've had them here.
However,
and what am I using? I'm using the CTX.
Andy, I got to tell you, we were at a hunt up in North Jersey a weekend or two ago. Wonderful. It was a fresh, not seeded hunt. and we get out into this section of this field, and the manicures, two guys were there with manicures, and they cleaned up. Three large cents, a seeded dime, a bunch of. That one guy found all that. The next guy found 6 seeded dimes in the field out there. I was using the CTX, and what did I get? I got a shield nickel, and that was it. A shield nickel.
Well, yeah, but think about what you're saying, Steve. You got a shield nickel, and this guy got 6 silver dimes. If your coil was over the dime, you would not have missed a dime.
Well, see, that's
a lot easier to miss that nickel than it was to miss a dime.
I think in a way, I think you're wrong, because they were getting these coins deep, and we were all in the same area, going all over the same stuff, and the manicures hit it. Someone was using an AT Pro. Someone was using an Equinox, I think. I'm using the 3030, and the manicures got it all. And they did.
Well, here's something. When I was doing testing, I would take 3 or 4 machines in the field with me, and I would mark signals with a poker chip, and then I would go back with the other machines to say, did machine A, D, C, or D hit it? And if it did, it's a matter of luck. Did your coil go over it? I mean, my yard in the back there is 50 feet by 125 feet. Why did we pull 50 coins out of there, and there's probably another 50 out there?
Right.
I mean, I think I know every blade of grass out there, but obviously what angle you go to, the moisture in the ground.
Sure. A lot of stuff makes a difference. I did people that are like, oh, well, it goes so much deeper than the CTX. Listen, not everything's going to be deep. I've pulled some really deep stuff with the CTX.
We have, yeah. We
I mean, you're off by an inch, you're off by a mile. I mean,
most of the stuff, most of my stuff in the last year has been, 7, 8 inches or less.
Right. And that's probably the majority of your targets you're going to find on a normal day.
But they're in trash. So if you're able to interpret the signal,
right.
I mean, we have a friend of ours down in Mississippi. I mean, we had to set his dais up to ignore everything from 88 down, because he wanted a number.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
65 is a nickel. Well, he's digging pull tabs, but it doesn't sound right. I don't know what you're talking about. So we just said block everything out up to 88 and just let him dig dimes and quarters. He was happy.
So here's my next question. Who has better finds in your property, you or Charlene? Tell the truth now. Look at this. You know what? I think I know my answer.
Yeah, you're right. I may get her on quantity, but she gets me on quality.
Yeah, good. I like that. That's good. Like I said, next week we're having Brandon and his daughter. So what a nicer kind of thing to have. Like, you have your wife you detect with, and Brandon, and we're going to talk about the father-daughter relationship of detecting together, and I think it's a really great
how daughters schooling the father.
Yeah, and I think it's it's great when a hobby brings people together in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I think next week's going to be a really good show. I'm sure we'll have a lot of laughs. Brandon's a great guy, and we get to touch on, their relationship and how metal detecting has affected it. And the kid's finding good stuff. I mean,
she is. I mean, she just got started getting out there with a decent machine, and she's popping rings.
So Andy, you're going to come out with the Deus 2 book. Is that what you're saying again?
That's what I'm trying to get finished up next. Correct.
How long do you think till that's ready? I want to get it.
Well, as soon as I can get some more people to send me find pictures, that's what I'm dumbed down to finds and a few settings. Todd sent me his stuff. Hugh Campbell sent me stuff. I got some stuff from overseas.
I tell you what, if I can send you a picture, I just got my Deus 2. We went down to the beach in the middle of the winter, and it's weird what they were doing on the beach, but we went there, and you could see on the bulkhead on the pier, a section where we were, the pier comes all the way out to the water's edge, and I could see that there was at least 3 feet of sand you can see on the pier. Now, mind you, I got to tell you something. This spot of sand I was standing on, literally, Frank, the bottom of the pier, you know where is there's metal detectors probably 3-4 times a day over these spots.
Oh yeah.
So I get a signal, and I knew. I said, this is a deep penny. It was an number 87 with the dais, and I'm going, I got a deep penny. Yeah, it picks up pennies real well, and I think this one's a little deep. I swear to God, I went in two good scoops, and I popped out a school class ring that was lost in 1984. Because I was able to track down the owner, and he told 89 or whatever the year was, 84, 89. I think it was 89. He said he was under the boardwalk and lost his ring. Now, the reason it got where it was down by the water, they have been doing nothing but bulldozing the sand underneath the boardwalk and spreading it out across the beach. And there was a couple rings that were a school ring from like 65, a couple rings, 35, 40 some years old, found and returned to people. So I'll send that to you.
Yeah.
And if you want to use, and I returned it to the guy after 34. It was 34 years. So what was it? 89 or something? Yeah, 34 years. He hadn't seen his ring, and he knew, and that was lost under the boardwalk. So the only way it got down that far close to the beach was it was moved. And it was moved in a bunch of sand and probably sunk, because I'm telling you, the day before, and I was even talking to a guy who detected, maybe not there, but in that area the day before. So I was like, well, I'm not going where he was, because he said they were out there 11 hours. So I just happened to be the one spot we checked I didn't like. I said, I just want to go walk down by the beach and have a nice walk. And boom, and I'm telling you what, that was the day it got that out of there.
What coil were you using, 11 or the 9?
Yeah, the regular stock, 11-inch, yeah.
Okay.
And I got a great reading. That's why it was a perfect penny signal. I'm like, that's a penny, and boom. And I love that machine on the beach. I really do. I love it. So, but I want to. That's why I want to try and get it in the dirt, because I know it's.
Well, we'll connect. I'll give you some pointers on how to check. What's causing the chatter, and then how to get rid of the chatter.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get some of your time in Lehigh. Because it's tough, because in Lehigh, everybody, I don't like to interrupt people when they talk to you, and there's someone talking to you every minute of the time up there, So
yeah, we'll carve out some time. You can help me go planting the non-silver.
I can't wait to hang out.
Just count it before you he plants it. Make sure it all gets in the ground.
What are you saying?
Nothing.
Hey, what are you saying? Like, that would be the first time I did that. Come on. Please.
Well, here's a police story for you. Years ago, when my daughter was probably in first grade, she's out there. We were burying targets at a hunt, and we had, one of those pipes that you can drop the coin in.
Yeah.
Well, she's handing me the coins. I'm dropping, and I'm talking to somebody else. And when I went forward with the handle, I hit her in the head with the tool.
Yeah, that's nice.
And right below her eye, she wound up getting a big shiner from me hitting her with the digger. So the next day I get home from work and the police are there. There's a cop car there. And he wanted to talk to me. He says, the teacher asked her what happened, said, my daddy hit me with a pipe.
Oh, no.
So the cop thought it was funny. I wasn't laughing, though.
No, I guess not.
So 3 years later, when you got out of jail.
Yeah. My daddy hit me with a pipe.
My daddy hit me with it. Yeah, they don't take that as a joke anymore.
No. You can laugh about it later on.
I'd go to school all beat up and say my old man did, and they'd be like, what'd you do wrong?
Yeah. He must have had a reason.
You got beat up, you got smacked around again, eh? What'd you do wrong?
All right.
But all right, so the day is 2 book. I want to know when that's coming out.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll have them on when it's done, ready to go.
And any other anything else you want to sell out there, Andy? Where else you going to be? Anywhere else that's going to be special?
for the next two events, I mean, that's pretty much it. We'll see what comes up after that. I know I've got people asking for training again, so we may want to, we're close enough to Gettysburg. We still might be able to put on an event down there on that property. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah, you get that. Stevie's coming.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you get that. I'm a
Yeah,
definite.
every event that you go to, people are asking, "Is Andy going to be doing? Is Andy going to be doing the?"
And Andy, you have carte blanche on Detect America. Whatever you
Absolutely,
want to
brother.
post, whatever you want to put up for sale, you don't even have to ask. Don't ask Frank because he'll never get back to you. You got carte blanche. We appreciate everything you do for our page, and because I know Frank's calling you with questions a lot, and you're like the go-to guy when there's questions.
All right. Well, make sure you set one of those acid kits.
Yeah, I'll have one for you. Yeah, I'm gonna get them in preparation, and I'll have a bunch up there, so we'll take care of it. And you're awesome, buddy.
All right, man.
Have a great night.
And thanks for coming on, buddy.
Can't wait to see
Yeah.
you.
Thanks again.
All right, buddy. Good night.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
So yeah, you not even a couple weeks, but I mean you got
less than that. Less than
a week and a half, not even. And you can have fun, Andy. I mean, you'll have fun. You guys will get to sit and just to sit and chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I only get to hang out with him for like half a day. We go there and it's a 1-day event, so you'll get to hang out with him. And
yeah, we'll get some digging on while we're down there.
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff you two like to talk about that can't be broadcast. We'll say. Yeah, I wish I was.
It's going to be a good hunt. It really is. It's definitely a hunt geared a lot more toward the serious digger. And if you're learning the ropes, if you're learning your machine, these are events to go to.
Well, I'll tell you what. The one thing I did learn about some of these Florida guys, man, they're hardcore dirt hunters, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Where was it? It wasn't when we went to the one that had the park on it.
Had the park on
The farm, the Ferris wheel event.
Oh yeah.
Dude, those guys were out. Remember that we were going home or whatever. Those guys were out at 9 o'clock the next morning. And so I'm hoping that those guys are going to this next hunt because those are the guys like Scott Whitaker and who else am I thinking of? Those guys, you know who I'm talking about, right?
It's going to be one of those hunts where you're going to be digging, you're going to be putting some time in, but the potential rewards there are going to be through the roof.
What I'm saying is,
so much history there.
There are guys that are going to go out there and hardcore hunt. Not like me, who'd have his feet back all the time.
Like Baumhoff was saying. So, Frank, you're saying this is not an event for Steve.
See, Mike Baumhoff doesn't know what. You know what? I think he's going to Lehigh too. I think he's going to Lehigh. He should have went with us, man. He should have went last or the other weekend. He should have went with us out there. He was only about an hour or so away. We had it was a really good time.
And like Robert Dix is saying, he always likes the beach. You know what? I do too. It's different. Living in Jersey, me and Steve, we wait all winter long to go and hit that beach. And I do, and I like the beach. Down here, it's all beach, and I find myself looking for pieces of dirt to dig.
You know why? Because you're a moron.
I know, but I'm on the Gulf Coast. It's not.
You know what cracks me up? I'm watching this one Florida guy. What's his name? Detect Florida or whatever on YouTube. And he goes out in the water, and this little ripple comes, right? And he's like, "Oh my God, the waves are!" Dude, come to Jersey and see what the waves are like, dude.
And I get yelled at by the Gulf Coast people, like, "Oh, we got to go out at low tide," and I'm like, "The tide is this big."
Yeah, but
it's 100 yards of 2-foot water.
Oh, and Jimmy Crossbones, he's out there in the water up to.
Well, he's on the East Coast, so he's actually got waves and shit going on.
Yeah,
there.
but no, a lot of times I see him. He's in the calmer water, and yeah, up there by Jacksonville, that water's like Jersey. You get those waves rolling in, and that's why.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why we can't do it. That's why we can't get out there.
Yeah.
But
But down here on the Gulf Coast, I mean, to get to where the people are frolicking in the water and losing the stuff, in some of these beaches, you're 100 or more yards of water that's this deep before it gets deep enough where they, you see them out there 100 yards out or better, and that's where they're playing. And to get out there and then detect and then get back in, and then I got weird things swimming by my feet out there.
Like I always said, and I realized what the difference was between Jersey and Florida.
Yeah.
Football and boogie boards. There's no football or boogie boards going on in Florida.
Yep.
And dude, so many times rings are lost. All I ever hear is I was throwing a football and I lost my ring. I was boogie boarding and I lost my ring.
Yep.
That's the two,
And not saying there ain't fines made out here. They're fine. Brandon Carmichael and these guys, they hunt hard and they make fines out here. And I made fines on this beach as well. But I revert back to I find a park that I want to get into, and I've done okay in some of the parks here with silver. And I got my first coin in Florida was a real, but I dug half a day to dig it out.
I like hunting dirt, but it's gotta be certain. Like I like going out in the fields. I like farm fields, the soft dirt there. Doing the woods, and I don't know. I don't find much in the woods. I don't know. But,
well, this is going to be different. This is going to be a combination of woods and field, and it's an area where there is no question that there was activity here. There's no question that there was a Girl Scout camp. There's no question that there was Civil War. Civil War activity was every place around this area. There is going to be stuff pulled out of this ground. How much, that has yet to be seen, but there's going to be stuff pulled out of the ground here. It's just too.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I almost know we're going to see it. So, all right, listen, I'm off to bed. I don't know why, because who's waiting for me.
I'm off to walk my dogs.
Yeah. So, hey, great show tonight. It was fun. Next,
it's always good to have Andy and his crew on, and Greg and Barb.
I know I haven't reached out yet, but Jimmy Crossbones has been putting up some good YouTube videos. Now, I want to get that old salty guy on here again. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
He's great. He's always good for a laugh. Because I want to talk about it's going to be beach season.
I'm working on a set of headphones for him, and I'm sorry, but getting parts for stuff right now is insane. I'm sorry, not being political, but where I got to get the parts from, let me tell you what, I've never had my chain pulled so bad in my life.
It would be cool that, like, for Jimmy Crossbones, you could make a set of headphones that, like, instead of tones, it says something. Like,
well, these are a different set of bone conductions on those.
I'm just saying, for him, it would be funny if you could, if it could say something like, "Hey, what are you stupid? Hey, what are you stupid?" Every time it goes over a target. Oh, would that be hilarious or what? Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
And you know what? Pamela Jan said, "Oh, you missed Radio Shack." You know what? It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad because I was getting more parts easier online and through these different vendors. And just now with the environment the way it is, it's like pulling teeth. It's like pulling teeth.
Yeah, that's a problem. If you could it's always been that way. If you could get your parts,
it's worse.
Readily available, the wires and everything else, man. You could be pumping these things out, and everyone would have a pair.
And then they get scarce, and then you got vendors like, "Well, I'm only going to sell you 10." I said, "Yeah, okay, but I need 20." It's just it's a bad environment. You're scratching for everything right now.
So don't forget your acid box, folks. Hit me up. I've got a lot of customers there.
You can go to uglygearusa.com. It's in the accessory section.
Or just hit me up. Anyone here could hit me up, except Baumhoff and Don Went. You ain't getting shit. You know what? Yeah, guys. You know what? I will send you the box. just make sure you open it. Yeah, just make sure. Yeah, you'll get a box. Trust me. All right, guys. Andy, you're the best. Andy's the best.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Barb.
So,
we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thanks, Greg and Barb and everyone for being on. We'll talk at you. Good night.
See you later.